I think,
especially in
Morocco
Morocco.
probably is a prime example, and to a great extent, other the African, North African countries and Arabian countries, wherein the society in general has opened up that much. The taboos, the things that were unheard of before, the cultures, the traditions, which were supposed to be taboos, no-nos. Now those taboos are being brought down, through this globalization. Another example that comes to my mind is the awareness of common man to the devastation of the environment. Look at how conscious now most people are with regards to the destruction of the forests, destruction of the trees, the effects of global warming, the effects of pollution. This awareness alone, I think, is the boon of globalization. And I gave an example to the class, that I had, the other day. We had in the United States a couple of months ago a special recall, by the Obama administration, because they are kind of more conscious to the environment, and they are taking the causes of global warming. So they wanted to recall all the bigger gas guzzlers, the cars, which consume more gas, the car which consume more fuel. They wanted to bring them off the streets, and they came up, with this idea called Cash for Clunkers. Have you heard of this program? The government actually gave up to $6,000 if you bring in a large van or a truck or an SUV, anything that consumed, that was, 6 cylinders and all that, the big gas guzzlers. You bring it back, and we'll give you $6,000, which you can pay towards a new car and actually buy a more gas efficient, more fuel efficient car. And that program was extremely successful. And we used to see Hummers left and right all over the place, the big SUVs and on all those kind of cars. Now, most of the Hummers are off the road. We don't see them anymore because people, just, and also because at that time the gas was very expensive. And this was an extremely interesting news for me the other day. At that time the gas was went all the way to $4 a gallon. $4 a gallon was unheard of, very, very expensive for us. Even now it's expensive. Even now the gas price is $2.50. So that's what I filled my tank last night for $2.53 a gallon. And I mean, 10 years ago, this was $1 a gallon. This is very expensive for us. So, is there any difference there? What is the gas price today? Are you in Brussels or where? Antwerp? Oh, you're in Brussels. So, what's the gas price here in Brussels today?
In Brussels.
€1.
€1.40, €1.50.
A liter or a gallon?
Let's see, €1.50.
4 gallons.
Yeah.
So in terms of dollars, how much does it make?
A liter. Sounds about 4. Very 4 quarters and 4.2. Everything in dollars. So he says €1.50. Right? That's about what it is. Or €2. Oh, so it's just nearly €1. Oh, it's €1. So basically it's €4, which in the equivalent, say, translation would be about say $6 a gallon. The equivalent about $6 a gallon, I think, the equivalent of what people pay. 6 plus you can pay.
I must feel sorry for you guys. But walking is not we love to walk. That's one way you can. And also, I think you have the biggest advantage in Europe. You have a very advanced public transportation system. We can't even buy milk here, without driving in a car. That's a problem. This country is spread horizontally. So even if I have to, buy a gallon of milk, I would have to drive a couple of miles and then get it. Unless, you are living in New York City. And then, that's these are the only, some of the urban areas, where you can rely on public transportation. Most of the United States, there is no public transportation system. If you have a car, you can live. Otherwise, you're living in a jungle. So the environmental awareness was a great implication and a great boon for this globalization. I think we are coming down to the last minute or so. I would invite just a few open questions. If you want to ask me a few questions, please go ahead and feel free before we call it a day.
I think one of the big things that's also troubling is a lot of times globalization, of course, opens up the borders, and I'm putting in the United States, of course. So, of course, the benefits that I see from globalization are inherent companies there.
I'm having difficulty in hearing.
Operations overseas.
I'm having a little difficulty in hearing your question.
Sure. I think that the biggest question I have is really, apart from the benefits for the companies that are looking to do this and from the raised standards of living, which you did mention earlier, what can you tell us about the debt burdens that countries, for instance, Africa, might have to take on? I know that in 1973, for instance, they had a debt burden of $13 billion, and currently the debt burden now is $315 billion. So it went from 1973 $13 billion to $315 billion. Most of which is money that's due to the IMF, the World Bank, the African Development Fund. What's your take on the debt burden and how countries like Africa are now saddled with that kind of thing, for instance?
It's a shame, actually, to perpetuate colonialism, through new devices. This is a new device. This is a new tool in order to perpetuate colonialism. I was shocked to learn after this, the disaster in Haiti, wherein millions of people were displaced, in a second. That up until I think maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, Haiti was paying for the freedom they gained from France over 50 years ago. They were paying France, I think, for as a retribution to gain freedom, because the French owned that land, and when they left, they said, all right, we can go from Haiti, but you got to pay us because you're living on our land. They paid $50 billion. I'm sorry, $53 billion, to be precise, to France. And then you expect that country to flourish when you are in this constant, forever bind of debt. $53 billion because freedom we are giving you, and you are on our land, that kind of thing. Does that make any sense?